Oh, hello and welcome to What Are We Talking About with Jamie Jakes. I am him, and this is Big Dumb Idiot, Spenser O'Neill, and we are here to talk about Travis Etienne or De'Von Achane. Who's better for Dynasty football?
It's obviously De'Von Achane, or as I like to call him, De'Von Achane from the movie The Boys, because he's one of the boys.
The boys from the superhero show on Amazon Prime?
Yeah, the guy A-Train who's fast as hell and nobody can catch him, and he's, he does have an injury history, but he's still super fast. And that's why I call him the A-Train.
He does have a injury history. My take on Etienne, so give everyone background what we're talking about and why we're talking about it, is we had an argument in a group text chat that we have. It's a lively chat, one of the most proud chats I am a part of, if I'm honest, and I think I cultivate it, and I think you cultivate it very well as members of the chat. And I was all the way on Travis Etienne as having more dynasty value, and you were all the way on De'Von Achane, or Achane, whichever one you want to say nowadays.
Well, I had expressed someone. I was asking opinions on whether or not Achane was worth a ninth round pick, or not ninth round pick, a ninth overall pick
109
in the rookie draft. Yeah, for a Superflex dynasty.
Yeah. Yep.
I was iffy. I didn't quite think he was 109, but then you brought up that you paid 111 for Etienne, and I thought that was terrible. I thought I would take Achane over Etienne, just by pure just speed, stats, team, quarterback, coach, just everything overall. I would take Achane over Etienne.
Well, so I guess we'll start there. Yeah, and so just to give you guys context, we determined that it was an actually great debate because I actually pulled up the current startup Dynasty Superflex rankings, which, yes, for some reason people do startup drafts this time of year. I don't know why. You'd have to be an idiot to do that. But anyways, Travis Etienne and Achane are going next to each other, and Etienne is running back 7. Achane is running back 8. So it actually is a fantastic debate for us to have. I do realize that, yeah, Achane has more speed. Okay, he has more speed than Etienne. I would argue that Etienne still has the prerequisite breakaway speed. And if you're going to bring up stats, what are we talking about, Spenser? Because last year, Etienne was half PPR running back 3 on the season. The year prior, coming off of his, I believe, Achilles injury, his rookie season, he was still running back 16, which Achane, with his injury history this season, was not able to beat either of those. Granted, of course, you could also rebuttal that. Well, how did Etienne's rookie season end up? And I would say, yeah, you're right. I guess I would take Achane's stats over that. But
actually, not even that. I would take, if we were comparing rookie seasons, it would be much closer. But we're comparing last season is what I'm doing, is because I don't like to compare seasons that don't matter. What matters to me is the previous season. And Achane outperformed Etienne. Now, granted, Etienne got more opportunities, but he didn't do anything with them. He had 3.8 average yards per carry with 267 attentions versus 103 attentions to Achane in 11 games, of course, but he got 7.8. He was averaging 7.8 yards per carry. I'll take that every day.
Yeah, but that's such a small sample size, Spenser. And so to be fair to you, yes, Achane had a higher average. He had 16.5 half PPR points per game when Etienne only had 15.1. So a point and a half difference, nothing to write home about, but still, I'm sure statistically significant when you run the significant figures. However, Achane was injured. And whenever you have a running back who's undersized coming out of college, what's your primary concern? Is injury. And what did Achane demonstrate? Is he is explosive with the ball in his hand. And is he able to maintain a big workload with the amount of attempts per game? The answer would be no. He was able to produce in a lot of those games. Like he had some big point scoring games, 49.3, 25.5 half PPR. And then in week 13, 23.8, 21.7. So you can hit big. I think he might be a decent best ball candidate, or if you do best ball dynasty, which is actually honestly sounds pretty awesome. That would be a good option. But he got injured in the preseason, and then he got injured again in the regular season, and then came back, got a 1-point game coming off of a bye, and then in week 12 he didn't play again. I guess I'll let you defend yourself here. I think in the dynasty world and in the running back world, always the amount of opportunity, the volume is key for running backs. And I guess your opinion, Spenser, correct me if I'm wrong, is that Achane will never have the same volume that Etienne has, but he's still more valuable because we haven't mentioned he's younger. He is 3 years younger, which is a credit to you. That gives you more value on your end. But if the volume's not there, and me as a manager, I'm not comfortable starting him in a running back slot in any format. So what say you to the volume?
I don't want him to have the volume. I like what he does with the very few volume that he gets to keep. He is a scat back. He's a tiny little guy. But with Tua and the Dolphins, I want to dump off to this guy. He's going to run out. You dump off to him. He runs 8 miles per hour down the field with Tyreek trying to struggle to keep up because the whole team's fast. I want that speed. I want him to get 100 carries, but I want those 100 carries to be for 10 yards every time. And that's what he's going to do. Whereas Etienne's got to truck the ball 300 times. Who's more likely to get hurt? You already said Etienne was hurt his rookie year. So if we're factoring his injuries on the rookie year.
Since that Achilles injury, which, when Achilles goes, it goes, and it's unpredictable. Since then, he's been incredibly reliable. I don't think he's missed a game since his rookie year. And talk about dump-offs. Achane has 58 receptions last year Etienne has 58 receptions last year to Achane's 27 receptions last year. Achane had 7.3 yards per reception, and Etienne had 8.2. He had a bigger sample size, and he had more average yards per reception.
I'll argue Etienne didn't have anybody else to help him. Raheem Mostert, nobody expected Raheem Mostert to go off and go crazy. Of course you're going to play that. You're going to be like, well, this guy's 48 years old. Let's have him beat up his body and do all this work. We'll save our rookie who's performing. He's going to get hurt. Like, well, let's rest him. I think he's going to come back stronger. I think Raheem Mostert is going to have I think he's back next year. He's not going to be as good. I hope he is because I like the tandem. I'm kind of a big fan of the running back by committee when it's two good running backs.
Raheem Mostert, to your credit, is older than me. He is 31 years old, April 9th, 1992, when he was born. So he is due to fall off a cliff.
Yeah, I think he's his 12th year starting next year.
But what my concern is even if Mostert does fall off a cliff, which he might, I don't think he showed signs of it last season, is I don't think automatically all of those carries go directly to Achane because I don't think that they believe that he can handle that sort of volume. And he's probably going to have some massive games where he breaks off 2 carries out of 10 rushes attempts for, 100 yards apiece, and he'll score a 41-point game for you, win your week. But he's going to have a lot of those other games like he did last season where he was extremely unproductive. He had a 1.5 point game, half PPR. He had a 1 point game PPR. He had a 3.6 point half PPR game last season because he's going to be so dependent on those big plays. And I just don't see that happening too frequently. I'm looking at Etienne.
Well, I also factor in my team. So my team has a lot of good average scorers. So a guy who's able to make 50 points is going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
And I got enough average scorers that if he doesn't do 0, I still have a chance to win because I have people who are consistent. So for me, Achane is a glass cannon, so to speak. Okay. He's going to go out there and explode or he's not. And I just accept that week to week. But I hope for the high. He's got such a high ceiling because he has such speed and talent.
So that is a good point. If your format has, because like I think you're referring to our league that we're in together. It's a super flex, but you have 2 flex spots, so you could start 4 running backs basically. So what you're saying is like I'll take those shitty weeks because the rest of my roster is built pretty evenly and consistently, and I'm just going to depend on their production, and I'm just going to take the league winning, the match winning performances out of Achane.
There's also just so many there's no running backs left. Like that you can think of like, oh man, this guy's going to get me 50 points. It's all wide receivers. I'm playing mostly wide receivers. I've stacked the board with wide receivers. I have I think every good wide receiver too that you can have in the league. I got, I just did trading Nico Collins, which I wasn't too happy about, but I got Jordan Addison for him and Marvin Harris Jr.
Yeah. That was a pretty interesting trade that you traded up for like 103 or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a pretty spicy trade. So that is a good point. It is a little bit dependent on if that is your philosophy for your team. I do understand it, but Etienne, his worst games last season was a 4.6 half PPR game in week 16. So other than that, he was really, really consistent. He did have a couple of league winning games, including in your championship where he scored 24.8 points. He also had a 34.4 point game in week 5. So you still can hit big, but I just think the consistency is going to be there. And I could see Achane being a little bit of a bust going forward if he's unable to break off these big, giant 70-yard runs every other game. I just don't see that as sustainable. And I guess that's what you're saying. So I do respect your opinion. Obviously, the Dynasty community is kind of arguing over that too. That's why I thought it was going to be a good video to do. Closing thoughts, Spenser O'Neill, and what do you have to promote for the viewers at home?
I think the closing thoughts is I didn't pull the trigger on Achane, so I obviously wasn't as up on him as I would argue. He was just too expensive for my blood. I think
what was the asking price?
He ended up going for Jalen Warren, my 2005 or 2025 first round, which is going to be a late round pick because I'm going to smoke him this year, and then some other guy, but it was basically Jalen Warren and 2025 first round pick
and a 2025 first. I think depending on when I'm trying to win, if that's now or later, I guess that would be the determining factor of which side of that I like. But as of right now, I think I would lean Warren. This is going to a little bit off topic. I think I saw a lot of people saying that Jalen Warren was like the top sell high candidate right now, and I don't see that. I like him where he's at in the situation he's in, and I think he could get signed to a big contract. I'm just a believer of that talent. I
don't think they're ever going to give him the opportunity.
Yeah, but his rookie contract's going to run out in I think this year. I think this is a contract year for him. So at worst, he's a handcuff for Najee over there for the Steelers. And best case scenario is he does kind of take over this season and get signed to a massive contract with a new coaching staff, right? So that's the big thing with the Steelers is, you got the head guy is in charge, but I think he's a little bit more in charge of the defense than anything. And Matt Canada's not going to be involved, and nobody is beholden to Najee or Jalen Warren. It's just like whoever's going to be best is going to be best. So for that trade, I think I would lean Jalen Warren side of things. I think in pretty much all situations, even if I am win now, I think I'm taking Jalen Warren and investing in the future. And that's a draft pick that you can just, at the trade deadline, just be like, hey, I'm trying to win right now. Let me go get so-and-so for my draft pick. That'll hopefully turn out to be 112. So I think I like the Jalen Warren side of that as well. But anyways, thank you for being on, buddy. Anyway, I know I did call you a big dumb idiot.
I was going to tell you I kept you should call me a big dumb idiot because I kept the 109 just so I could steal Trey or Troy from you because of Raheem Mostert. I think I would definitely goes down for whatever reason. Achane's going to show that he's a good back.
Brilliantly said, Spenser O'Neill. Thank you for being on. You can follow him on all social media platforms, including YouTube. Do you have any big shows coming up or anything like that to promote?
I don't got anything coming up. Just follow me on social media. I've been doing things there, doing a lot of sketches, a lot of funny stuff, got some viral stuff.
Hell yeah. So Austin Comic, you did have a pretty good like TikTok or something blow up pretty recently talking about being fat.
Yeah. Me and another fat guy were just talking about being fat. We just kind of took a trend and we made it funnier. And everybody was like, this is the funniest one. I want to eat pizza now. So
well, you are an inspiration to me as well. So I did insult you to open up today. Not going to insult you to close out. You are a good friend of mine. And I hope we can talk shit about fantasy football on this channel in the future.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you guys. Leave a comment. Tell me who's right and who's wrong. Leave a like. Tell a friend. Please subscribe. Thank you and good night.